Hey everyone, it's Crystal here. Is burnout affecting the relationships around you? And this could be your work relationships, your romantic relationships, your personal relationships with friends and family, and even the relationship with yourself. And when you see that the relationships around you are suffering, they're not serving you very well, you're feeling aggravated, annoyed, losing your interest within, not communicating very well, getting really fed up, and kind of a ticking time bomb, essentially, when you're communicating or in these social interactions. It's really hard to rein it in and see anything from a different perspective because you have this negative output among your relationships around you. And when you have this negative output, sometimes we don't really see the true sense of what's going on in these relationships. Perhaps we're misinterpreting things. We're just blowing off steam and losing our tempers. Or maybe we're not really being open-minded and giving some space or allowing somebody else to be their way or how they need to be. And when you're in these scenarios with burnout, it's really hard to be with other people. You can push them away or drag them down or really just be really abusive towards yourself as well as them. And you may not realize it because you're just not feeling well. You're not in a good place mentally. And this can be something that's really challenging because it can really disrupt the relationships around you, as well put this silent barrier between you and other people. And it may be something that other people don't understand because perhaps obviously you're not communicating this very well to others. And it really does make a lot of things suffer, including yourself as well. So how can we change this? Because relationships, as we know, are the most important entity as humans need to exist. And we need our relationships to be healthy, to be prosperous, to work with us, to be something that supports us through life. And we are social creatures at the minimalist, and we need some sort of interactions with people in order to just maintain health and wellness overall and our own mind state and health there. Because when we start losing that, our mind starts kind of turning into mush. We don't have good thoughts. We may lose cognitive memory. We may not even just be present at all. And this creates sense of loneliness and isolation and really is detrimental to your overall health going long term as you age. So we definitely need social interactions in order to maintain ourselves as well as maintain a level of cognitive behavioral memory as well. So what can we do? Because all of these relationships have different dynamics. Your work ones are different than your personal and private ones, as well as your romantic ones. And they all have a different level of attention as well as healing required for each kind. So how can we bring a better mind state to this to start moving in a direction where we can heal our relationships, especially with the one with ourselves? And that's our starting point, is really tuning into ourselves and looking at ourselves and understanding what's going on with our emotions and really, is it them or is it us? And when you notice it's finally you, it's just an awakening that maybe you need to fix some things. Maybe there's some things you need to work out that are deeply embedded within you, some really serious frustrations and problems that you're having that are creating this heightened issue where it's spilling over to your relationships and affecting them so badly that they're at their breaking point of no return. So really doing some self-evaluation. And as we know, relationships are a give and take situation. You have to give to receive and receive to give, and it goes both ways. But when you're not feeling in a very good giving mood, it's really hard to give anything positive to these relationships, which then will turn into a really negative ordeal. It doesn't matter who you're dealing with. It can go for that for anyone. So really digging deep and looking at what's bothering you. What's the issues that you're experiencing with the relationships, and really dive down deep. Yeah, of course some responsibility is always on another person as well, but what are the responsibilities that you have that you need to deal with, that you need to be aware of, and then start working on those things. And sometimes this requires us to go into a deeper self-reflection level of our own selves and really be our critic, and not harshly, but honestly, and really look at what's bothering us about ourselves, what's making our moods and our attitudes and our output these negative things where it's affecting the relationships around us. And to be quite frank with you, this is a really hard place to be because it does create emotions of anxiety and depression and a lot of anger towards yourself, and then you have some anger then towards others, and you may feel like people just don't understand you and don't hear you. But it's about trying to make yourself hear yourself first, and when you can hear yourself first and heal that first, everything else follows along. And I know that may sound far-fetched and maybe not making too much sense, but when you start changing your mind and changing your thoughts and your feelings and how you have these certain reactions and responses to things, everything tends to work alongside that. And it's strange, I know, but it is actually a very true fact. And then you'll know what's working and what's not working for you, and what is you and your responsibilities and yet what's somebody else's. So it really creates some clarity and some awareness about what's going on and the relationships around you. So really diving down deep and doing some self-reflection, working with somebody to work through your emotions, to work through your mind, to work through your feelings and your thoughts, and really dive down deep to see what's going on with you and healing yourself from the inside out. And it all starts in the mind. That's the hub, the central processing unit of your body, and that's the way we can shift our mood, our thoughts, our habits, our beliefs, and really then show up to our relationships in a more positive, in a more helpful, in a more supportive, in a better serving manner, and then be able to have fruitful relationships, healthy, dynamic relationships, relationships where it's equal and where it's completely, not entirely always blissful, but comfortable and reasonable for everybody. And that's really what we need from relationships, is to have that level of trust and that level of being able to rely on them no matter what. And also being able to just be ourselves no matter how we feel, and have them know that sometimes we have ebb and flows, but we can get out of it, and there is a way out of it. So thinking about your relationships on a deeper level, they are something extremely important for our own human survival. So they're something that we should really pay attention to. Our relationships with ourselves, our relationships with others, and even the relationships that we have with everything around us. Really pay attention and tune in. Give it a moment to actually be in the forefront of your mind. And don't, again, give that self-negative, critical talk to yourself. Be honest and be gentle as well, and evaluate yourself and what's going on. And you can find some better solutions once you start breaking things down and making more sense of it. So I hope we're able to get some value out of that today. I'll see you soon.